Today, grab your collie stick because we're gonna do something with it. Let's train. In today's training, let's take a look at the basic angles of striking with our stick. You can also do this with a bolo, with a training bolo. This works with all areas of collie. So these drills, these principles will translate to the knife, to the double sticks, to the spotted daga, to the spear, to the staff. It'll translate all across the board when it comes to collie. Now the thing about angles of strikes, depending on what style or system of Filipino martial arts, what school that you're coming from, there's a lot of the different kind of numbering systems. And what I mean by that, if you're new to collie, the numbering systems is things like, you'll hear us say like our angle 1, our angle 2, right? So there's a lot of different numbering systems depending on the school that you attend, the style that you're training. Just for example, some schools, like for us, we have our angle 1, our angle 2, our angle 3, and our angle 4. But other styles that I've trained in the past, they would look like angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. And then some other styles that I've trained in the past would look like angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. But the thing is, when it comes down to all these numbering systems, these numbering patterns and all that, these are for teaching intentions, okay? They're teaching particular methods and particular drills, and that's why they have these numbering systems. But when you look at all these numbering systems, and no matter how you're striking the stick, there's really only 3 angles that you're striking your sticks, or any kind of weaponry, right? You're striking either a diagonal, you're striking a horizontal, or you're striking a vertical. And whatever the variation of the strike is, it's always going to be somewhere on those 3 angles. Whether it is a fluid strike, a broken strike, maybe a circular strike, a slash, a thrust, okay? It doesn't matter. It's going to be on one of those angles. So what I want to do today is I want to go ahead and work through a few different drills that will allow you to work each one of these different angles. Be able to work your diagonals, your horizontals, and your verticals. And then you can start to put all these drills together and start creating that free flow, or what we call carenza, that solitary free flow. Let's kick off with our first drill. We're gonna go down the X. This is our angles 1 and 2 here at Collie Center. So for right now, let's just call this the X drill. So from here, we're gonna start off in our chamber position, and we're gonna strike down the X on the forehand and then down the X on the backhand. And that's it. We're just gonna draw a big X right in front of our body. So if we can go descending on our diagonal strikes, then we need that drill so we can start to ascend on our diagonal strikes. And this is our upper 8, or our upper X strikes. So from here, we're gonna start off nice and low. At Collie Center, we just label these as angles 3 and 4. But if you're studying a different style, they might be a different number. So that's why we're looking more at just the angle and these basic angle drills. So from here, we're gonna start on out. We're gonna strike up the forehand side of the X, and then up the backhand side of the X. So up the forehand X, up the backhand X, okay? And we call this one the figure 8 because you're gonna notice that it's a little bit different than the drill that we just did previously, because now the wrist is just rolling over. It doesn't have a breakover point. Okay, I'll show you real quick. Like when we're coming down the X, right next to my hip, if you watch my hand, there's a breakover point. Again, right here, as I come down, there's a breakover point, okay? But we call the ascending one our upper 8 because it just rolls over. There's no breakover if we stay in these rising, ascending motions. So with all these different diagonal strikes, there's so many variations just right here within the diagonal strikes. And so we have our 2 basic drills, down the X and up the X, which obviously, just as a little bit of an example here, you can put those together into one drill. You can isolate one diagonal side, like what we call our 2 and 3 line. You could also isolate our 1 and 4 line. You can start going into what we call these V strikes. Okay, there's all kinds of different manipulations, okay, that you can start to do with all of these diagonal strikes. The third drill that we have is our plus, and this is where we get to work our horizontal strikes and our vertical strikes within one drill, and we get to work both those forehand sides and backhand sides. So from here, we're going to start off in that chamber position. I'm going to strike that forehand horizontal strike, and then I'm going to go with a backhand vertical strike, and now I'm going to flip it. Backhand horizontal strike, and then the forehand vertical strike. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So as we're working through this plus drill, you can also start changing the elevation of your horizontal strikes. So we can strike through the eyes or right to the head. We can strike right to the mid, or we can come all the way low down to the knees. Quick little side note, I get asked a lot, hey Paul, how come when I watch these Filipino martial arts videos, I see a lot of these Filipino guys and Filipino martial artists that are moving around, and it seems like they're constantly slapping their bicep, right? Like you see this, like this motion. What is up with that? Why all the slapping of the bicep? What does that do? And in actual fact, it should not be your hand is slapping your bicep. When you're doing the techniques correctly, it's the bicep is coming to the hand. And what happens is, right, if your hand's not there, okay, then that won't happen. And if your hand's not at the plexus, if your mechanics aren't there right, and you swing this, you'll start to feel this overextension in the shoulder. So when your hand is right here on the plexus, it kind of acts like a little bit of a momentum catch. So that way you don't have that overextension in the shoulder. But the thing is that we're just kind of catching that, because if I don't catch it, then I just kind of smash into my hand, and you know, that doesn't feel good on the hand eventually and all that. So just becomes a little bit of a catch, okay? So that way we know that our left hand is in good position, and it's kind of catching that momentum from that forehand strike, because there's nothing there to stop the momentum of the forehand strike. It just kind of keeps going until it wraps around the body. Your backhand strikes, okay, it's going to catch onto your back, onto your upper shoulders as you're striking your backhand strike. So they have a natural catch for momentum for that shoulder, and the shoulder moving this way does not have the same kind of like overextension like it does if it's being pulled here, where it's almost like being pulled out of the socket. So that's why you see the bicep catching the hand slapping the bicep, but it's really catching the bicep. It's the bicep meeting the hand, not the hand meeting the bicep, right? Just a little side note. All right, so once we have these 3 drills, we have our X, okay? We have our upper 8. We have our plus. The cool thing is that now we can start to blend these things together, and you don't have to do a complete drill. You don't have to complete the plus, but we're learning these different 3 angles, diagonals, horizontals, and verticals. And now you can use these 3 drills as references to start and expand your Kali flow. So you can start off striking some X's, coming up with your figure 8s, throw a couple pluses, do an X, come up, right? And you can start, you can play on some verticals right here, and you can start to play with the different manipulations of these different angles. By working these 3 drills and then kind of breaking them apart and exploring them and just kind of having fun playing and becoming creative with them, this is going to enhance your Kali flow with your weaponry. And you can take the exact same principles that I just shared with you, the same drills I just shared with you on the stick, and go try it out on a knife. See if you can figure it out on a double stick or with the staff, spear, any of these different weapon areas. The principles, the drills, everything is going to translate over no matter what it is that you have in your hand. One of the things that I love about Kali is that it's instinctive. It's instinctive because Kali is the science of how humans fight with weaponry. For Kali, right, we always hear this kind of separation of, oh, we do all this weapon training and then we do this empty hands training. But when you look at how Kali is laid out, empty hands, area 6 of Kali, the empty hands are considered a weapon. They're considered a weapon area of Kali. At least that's how we look at it here at Kali Center, because we're taking our hands and we're turning them into weaponry. Just like we're taking this stick and we're turning it into a weapon. So all these areas of Kali, Kali is a weapon system. It is not a weapon-based system, it's a weapon system. The stick becomes the weapon, your body becomes the weapon. That machete that you might have to pick up that you are harvesting sugarcane with or whatever, now it becomes from a farming tool and it becomes a weapon. As human beings, Homo sapiens, as a species, we have been fighting with weaponry much longer than we were fighting with our empty hands. It did not take us much time before we started picking up sticks and rocks and doing our tribal warfare, fighting for resources and territory and all that stuff. We started to pick up these objects very, very early on and fighting with them, and we liked the result and it just made sense. So Kali, this is why Kali is very primitive. It's very instinctive. It's just kind of like encoded within our DNA. And we're not looking at mimicking these other types of creature movements, right? We're not interested in trying to mimic how does a bird fight or how does a dog fight or any of these things. We're focused on the science of how the human body operates within the martial conditions. All right, if you want more training, head on over to KaliCenter.com and go check out our online training programs, our DVD downloads. We have so much training material over there that's going to take your Kali training to the next level. Also, click that join button right below this video and check out becoming a sponsor of our channel, where you can join us in our channel members area and get a whole bunch of exclusive perks and exclusive training videos, lessons, drills, all kinds of stuff that we're just doing over inside of our members area. Our channel members area is growing. We're getting a lot more sponsors to the channel. If you head on down into the comments of any of our videos and you start seeing those different triangles right next to people's names, those are all sponsors to our YouTube channel who are gaining access to those exclusive videos and those perks and taking their training up to that next level. We're keeping that super, super low cost, super affordable, and it helps us out every time we get a new sponsor. It helps us out over here at Kali Center to keep making these videos, because it gets expensive when you're filming stuff and you accidentally drop a camera or you kind of get too close and you hit a camera and you break a lens or something like that. It happens. There's a lot of wear and tear on the equipment and stuff. So becoming a sponsor to the channel really does help us out. and helps us kind of keep these videos coming. And then that's why we want to do extra stuff for our sponsors in our channel members area. So click the join button right below this video if you're interested in checking that out, and I'd love to see you in the inside of the channel, behind the scenes. So grab your gear, head on outside, get training, go have fun, and I'll see you back right here for our next training session together.